War has come to the mountains of northern Iraq. As Turkey pursues Kurdish militants to their remote hideouts, its military action has also killed hundreds of civilians. BBC Eye Investigations has gained exclusive access to what's known here as the Forbidden Zone. Using open-source satellite imagery, we reveal the full extent of Turkey's military footprint.
Bölücü örgütün, unutmayın, son çırpınışlarıdır.
We expose how Kurdistan's ruling party has enabled Turkey's expansion and meet the families caught in the middle. We have traveled to the remote mountains of Iraqi Kurdistan, close to the border with Turkey. This is what's known as the Forbidden Zone. It's the area affected by the conflict between Turkey and the PKK, a militant Kurdish nationalist group. PKK fighters have long used these mountains as a base for their operations across the border in Turkey. Since 1984, the conflict has claimed more than 40,000 lives, many of them civilians. The PKK, or Kurdistan Workers' Party, is an armed guerrilla movement founded in Turkey in 1978. At first, its goal was the creation of a state for the 30 million Kurds spread across Turkey, Iraq, Syria, and Iran. It's long been designated a terrorist organization by Turkey and many Western nations. Driven underground by Turkish military action, the PKK's fighters operate from caves and tunnels in the mountains of Iraq. After decades of fighting, hundreds of villages in northern Iraq have been abandoned. People are advised not to come here because they risk being hit by Turkish air or drone strikes. In August 2023, Hashim Shakir and his cousin Alan were driving near his village in the evening. They were targeted twice by a Turkish strike. A year later, we returned to the strike location with Hashim and his wife.
هل أنت متأكد من إنه القصف اللي تعرضت ليه كان من طيارة تركية؟
طيارة تركية يعني كردستان شمال العراق نينا طيارة كاسب بس تركي بس طيارة تركيتين وين صاروخ ماذا؟ قاسبودوي مبينو ساعات 6 بو 7 40 دقيقة مبينو هردو قاسبود 40 دقيقة.
Hashim was injured, but he survived. Alan was not so lucky. He was 24 years old and a stage 4 cancer patient. This is Hashim, filmed soon after the strike, when he was recovering. He describes what happened.
صاروخ ما كفتي از پرشیم چوی ما بیوا آگر سواره بلم بیا قیامت جورا کدی من بینه که ما هندی مگوزی که جوه خلورات گیرم از چنا بینم گفت خدا سوتا شو.
The PKK is known to enlist the help of local people, but Hashim says he's had no connection with the group.
برأيك ليش استخدفوك؟
خود اجي نزار راستی به سببی ورمکی نرو تشتك نما
The conflict in northern Iraq has gone largely unreported. One organization that records the casualties of Turkey's military action is human rights group Community Peacemaker Teams. The group gathers evidence in the form of the victims' personal details.
We are writing the name of the person, the date of birth, the date of the incident, and the location of the incident. And also we have the death certificate, what is the reason and the cause of the death.
As we look more closely at Hashem's and Alan's case, we'll find that it reveals some disturbing aspects of the Kurdish government's relations with Turkey. Turkish troops have a long history of pursuing PKK militants across the border. Today, the fight against the PKK is led by the president of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan.
Bölücü örgütün, unutmayın, son çırpınışlarıdır.
The BBC repeatedly asked the Turkish authorities for an interview to discuss the matters raised in this film. They declined our requests. Dr. Zeynep Kaya is a Turkish academic who specializes in this conflict. She explains why the Turkish government is so hostile to the PKK.
This increased autonomy, decentralization, and potentially, in the long term, an independent Kurdistan is seen as a significant threat, an existential threat for the Turkish state. The military operations and their nature and their scale gradually increased over time. So the more the PKK military activity expanded, the more then the Turkish military operations also expanded in northern Iraq.
Bombardment from the air and occasional incursions on the ground brought only limited success. 2018 was a crucial year. Turkey started building many more military bases inside the Forbidden Zone.
They felt the need to deepen their operations. They felt the need to establish bases to be able to control the developments on the ground much more effectively. And this obviously has long-term aims as well.
At the same time, Turkey's policy in the Middle East was undergoing a major shift, especially with regard to Syria and Iraq.
It was much more involved, it was much more interventionist. So we need to understand the creation of buffer zone within that framework, within that wider framework in the shift in Turkish foreign policy in the region.
It's risky to approach the Turkish bases, so we've traveled with the Iraqi border guard to get a closer look. The border guard's job is to protect Iraq's international boundaries. It reports to the central government in Baghdad. From what we can see, it's almost as if Turkey has pushed the border south and is now in control of Iraqi territory.
هاي نقطة عسكرية هي تركيا؟
نعم.
بس هذا داخل الأراضي العراقية مو؟
نعم.
في رأيك هل هذه القواعد التركية تمثل انتهاكاً للسيادة العراقية؟
لا.
لغرض
الجهات السياسية.
الموضوع يعني مو هذا السؤال ما يتوجه لنا كجيش وكعسكر يعني.
As part of our investigation, we've created a detailed map of Turkey's military installations in northern Iraq. By gathering information from satellite images and social media, we've been able to plot the exact positions of Turkey's military outposts and permanent bases. What we found shows the sheer scale of the Turkish presence. Our analysis shows that as of December 2024, there were at least 136 Turkish bases on Iraqi soil.
It means that you have lost sovereignty over thousands of square kilometers
These
of
areas
land.
are all uninhabited and populated, for your information. And the reason, again, was the PKK who denied our people to go back to their homes. So it's a no man land.
So you're saying that there are no civilians who
No,
live
no, there
in
are
this
in
land?
between some civilians, but they will not interfere in their day-to-day work, in their business, in their communication, going to their fields, and so on.
The border guards try to project an image of strength, but Turkey is a regional powerhouse on which Iraq depends for trade, investment, and water security. The Baghdad government has little leverage to expel Turkish troops. In the meantime, families like Alan's continue to seek justice.
مو قلت حاكم يجي مو قلت شيء تركيا بيب حاصينيكو أفشوا لواكلي نا ولا تنا شيء بوبيش اسكولايك ودامنا نفيسه.
The family is also seeking compensation from the central Iraqi government. Much will depend on whether Alan's death certificate states the true cause of his death. But it was written by the local Kurdish authorities, and Ismail has his doubts.
طب العدل وبعثا الكسور والتحرقات والأنزفة الدموية أثر إصابة شظايا المواد متفجرة في مناطق مختلفة من الجسم. يعني تونيكا بريخوب ده يدي بيجي تشلكي تخابتية باقي.
The certificate says only that explosive fragments caused Alan's death, not that he was killed in an act of war.
تو أكب أوان بيداي بيد قوتن تد من أو مناوي دبي هو كاير راستا بينا.
لا قلت يوجه.
بدا زاني أوان بيان ناي.
شو؟
The BBC has obtained confidential documents relating to Alan's case. The original police report, filed on the day of the strike, says a Turkish drone was responsible. But as the case advanced through the court system, all references to Turkey disappeared. The investigative court sent this letter requesting an autopsy. The accident type is described not as a Turkish attack, but as explosive fragments, the very same wording that later appears in Alan's death certificate. These documents suggest the Kurdish authorities may have acted to cover up the true cause of death. And Alan's case is not the only one. Kamaran has collected the death certificates of 250 people he believes were killed in Turkish strikes.
In most of the death certificates, they only wrote infijar, which means explosion. Explosion can be a bottle of gas exploding. It can be a mine exploding. It can be anything exploding. So they don't want to write the right cause of the death.
Only 3 of these certificates cite Turkish bombardment as the cause of death.
So it seems that there is a concerted effort by Kurdish authorities to obstruct anybody who tries to bring Turkey to account.
There is no question about that, definitely.
لأنه سأكمل تصويري بالشيء ليش تبدأ صحيح؟ شو تشتاق شو خلاص.
The judge ruled that the perpetrator's identity was unknown and closed the case. Alan's family are still waiting, if not for compensation, then at least for acknowledgement. The BBC asked the Turkish Ministry of National Defense for more information about the incident. They denied having carried out a strike on that day.